The supplement business generates about $100,000 of profit a month, and now our goal is just to find car wash deals and funnel that into. It's boosted my net worth massively, and it's also time efficient. If we weren't buying them all the time, it'd be a lot less. It'd be like 4 or 5 hours a week.
Some days we keep on rolling. Some days we want to fold in.
I'm also a business valuation expert, so this is a show that first you think is about numbers and business, but when you zoom out, it's really about life. But what is it worth, and what's the right timing on that?
Be sure to like and subscribe and let us know what you think in the comments.
All right, we are live. Welcome back to Inspired or Acquired. This is the podcast where we talk to business owners, give them a valuation, and ask them if they would sell or if they would hold on. So excited to bring on today's guest from Colorado, Kriss Berg. How you doing, Kriss?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm super psyched to be talking to you guys.
All right, we got a twofer today. So Kriss has brought his two operating businesses. So Kriss, tell us a little bit about what you do, and then my co-host here, Clint Fiore, will talk about valuation.
Yeah, so two primary businesses. One is a DTC supplement company. We primarily sell through email marketing and some direct mail. And then the second business is a small car wash chain roll-up that we're hoping to blow up.
Super cool, man. Well, I've been excited to talk to you. I think you have one of the more unique perspectives here. And I want to get into strategy and how these companies kind of interrelate. It sounds like they're totally unrelated, supplements and car washes, but you have kind of a master plan that makes them play well together. So let's put that on hold for a second. I want to get to that and get you to explain that. But we always kind of first jump right into, let's figure out what these things are worth today. You know, and like what, if you were just to say, hey, Clint, I need to get rid of these, sell it, let's get the most we can. What are they worth? You know, so let's play 20 questions real quick on the supplement business, which is an e-commerce. Let's start with that one. So we got a supplement business. It's an e-commerce store. How long has that been in business, and what's your revenue trend been like there?
We're in it for about 12 years now, and the revenue has been bumpy over the last COVID blew it up. We were sort of stuck in the $5 million range for a long time. And COVID, we zoomed up to about 18 million in 2022. And then it's since gone down. We're probably going to do about 8 million this year. But the strange thing is that profit has never been higher. When we did 18 million that year, we were at about a 10% profit margin, and now we're at 8, and we're going to be about 25% profit margin. So if you do the math on that, we're actually making more money now. And it's been a strange ride. I think if you were to look around, a lot of e-commerce people have seen similar metrics. It was very easy during COVID to blow up an e-commerce company because nobody could go. The stores were closed, right? The only things that were open were Amazon and your grocery store. And so it made sense that a lot of that money turned online. And I think there was a rebound effect, a rubber band effect, that people stopped or slowed down online shopping. And I do think there's a macroeconomic effect going on, that people are shopping less in general. But it's been a strange time over the last 2 years, but we're happy because we really focused over the last 2 years on lifetime value of our customers, developing the customers we already have, turning them into subscribers so that they're getting their products every month. And now we have 1,200 subscribers that are spending as much as $200 a month on our products.
Amazing. Very cool. And you don't use these third-party platforms like Amazon, right? Like you're doing it through your own site with your own email list and kind of stewarding your customers that way?
Yeah, exactly. We played on Amazon with FBA for a while in like 2016 or something. And we saw the typical roller coaster that so many people deal with, where you could just lose all your sales overnight. They would just close your store for really obscure reasons. And we also
Yeah.
did SEO for a long time, Google, trying to rank things, and that also would disappear overnight. So now we own our own customers. They deal with us. They know my face. Like my face is on the subject line or on the byline of every email. And
And that
so
doesn't
they
hurt you?
say, what?
I said, and that doesn't hurt your sales?
No, it doesn't. People like me, Clint. You remember that now. So no, it's been great, and we've stayed away from that sort of platform risk. That's so many. We don't even advertise on Facebook and YouTube because of
Yeah.
similar problems with that. So many of our friends in the business are losing money on every transaction and trying to make it up in the back end, and we just stopped doing that. So we make money on every transaction. We actually do affiliate marketing, so there's profit baked into every single sale that we make now.
I like that you own your audience. I like that you own your customer list and have that direct to consumer relationship.
Yeah,
If I'm your broker, I'm probably going to be promoting those other channels as solid gold upside, though, for
that's right.
for a buyer. Because I mean, you can. I mean, if someone's not as risk averse and they want to explore some of those other channels, and maybe even give up a few points of profit to grow that top line, like I'm sure those are some good opportunities to explore there.
Yeah,
Do you think where
that
you're
would
at
be.
now?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do you think where you're at now is sustainable in terms of? I'm seeing about 2.4 million of SDE and about 2 million of EBITDA in your
Yeah,
business. Do you think that can continue through this year and next year? Do you feel like you're at kind of a sustainable pace with that?
I do. It's been really solid over the last 18 months. The profit margins keep going up because we're focusing on this LTV, the lifetime value of the customer.
Hmm.
So I do, and I do think that our online niche will rebound. I think we're actually in a lull right now. I don't know when that'll happen. I'd like to think it'd be in the next year, but we were doing, 12 million just 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and weren't really trying that much harder than we are now. So I do think that there'll just be a natural sort of rebound cycle.
Yeah.
So I think I would say if we were doing a sim right now, you and I, Clint, I would say number one, we got a lot of low hanging fruit with Facebook and YouTube.
Hmm.
And I think there'll be a natural rebound of the cycle. I think this business will be back to 12 million in a year and
Yeah.
a half.
Okay. Well, let's jump right into value then. Um,
Great.
I kind of feel like if I were to value you today based on your trailing 12 months and your
Hmm.
most recent set of data, you're probably at about a 10 million enterprise value, which would represent ballpark of 4x of discretionary earnings or a 5x of EBITDA. And,
Yep.
and I think that's going to be kind of a middle of the road valuation that I'm pretty confident we could deliver
Great.
from a number of buyers. There's a chance someone might pay a hair more than that, but I wouldn't promise a lot
Yeah.
more than that.
Right.
So I do think you've got an 8-figure value right now. Like it's probably a $10 million company all day long. Um, you
I
have a
appreciate
part. Do you have a partner in this one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're 50-50.
Okay.
Um, which the other part of this is that the systems in place now and the people we have, I'm spending about 10 hours a week on this business, sometimes 20 at times.
Hmm.
And my partner he's at 10 on a regular basis. He's actually focusing on one of our other businesses primarily. So I think it's very attractive for an
Yeah.
acquirer who doesn't understand, because it would be intimidating to come into a supplement business and not know the science, not understand what these products are. Are they real? We really focus on efficacy. All of our stuff has science-backed claims. They all have random control trials backing up the claims. So I think an unsophisticated buyer is what I would call them, someone who doesn't know this niche, who is more
Hmm.
of a hold co owner, could come
Hmm.
in and feel really comfortable buying this business. You may have to find a CEO for it, and obviously somebody like me would help with that transition. But I think it's a very attractive acquisition
I
for
think,
somebody like that.
yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that. I think it would have a lot of appeal. And do you do your own fulfillment or and like have a warehouse and stuff, or are you
No,
all
yeah,
third party?
everything. So the manufacturing is outsourced. The fulfillment is outsourced by 3PLs, what they're called, somebody who just
Yeah.
takes the inventory and puts it in boxes for you and stores it all. So we actually have no physical plant whatsoever. Everybody works from home. There is no
Yeah. I mean,
office.
that's just kind of like a dream company for me as a broker to market, because it just opens up the entire universe of buyers.
Yeah,
And yeah, the more you dial in the systems and processes and SOPs and have it to where you've got those third parties running the fulfillment, and you're essentially just a marketing and sales machine and customer
exactly.
service
Yeah,
um, side of it. And that's something that just lends itself so well to the modern kind of remote structure.
right.
Um, yeah, that'd be a dream to market that, because so many buyers would be all over that. So yeah,
Right.
I'm fairly confident in the value range that you're probably 10 million all day. Maybe you could stretch it to 11 or
Yeah,
12 with the right buyer. Um,
that's great.
and you're 50/50 on that. Do you have any third party debt on that company?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
no.
So that's what I
The only
call, in my world, I call that the golden goose. That's like, to me, that's everybody's dream, is to have, because let's face it, like anybody that's trying to sell you that small business is passive income is selling you a bunch of BS. Like you're still
Absolutely.
there. You still have to put out fires, solve problems,
Yeah,
massage this thing, and your partner's helping you too. So, like you said, 10
yeah,
hours a week, 20 hours a week sometimes, but man, that's a hell of an income stream that you guys
yeah.
are able to enjoy. And that's like, kind of the home base, the cash flow that's taking care of your lifestyle and then some of your other investments. And
Hmm.
then, so I think you're worth solidly 10 million today. And then talk to me about like 3 to 5 years from now. Where do you think it'll be? Just, rough numbers and why, and let's figure that out. Like where
Yeah,
could the value be?
it's a really interesting discussion because I was just looking at our vision traction organizer actually right before this call, just coincidentally, and we wanted to be by 2026. We wanted to be at 40 million, and I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm fine with it. I would say 3 years down the road, I think 20 is probably in range, but I would say conservatively, this company could double. Um,
Mhm.
if we just sort of do what we're doing now, where we're not buying a lot of traffic, we're just offering our affiliates, and we're kind of piggybacking off of people who are really good on Facebook and YouTube, because
Yeah.
then they offer their list to us to send our products to. So
Mhm.
as those companies grow, we can grow. And so I would conservatively 3 years from now, I think we could be at 16. Let's say 16.
16
Okay.
in 2027.
Do you think you could
2026.
keep those? Do you think keeping that 25% margin is realistic as you double?
I would say let's knock that down to 20,
20. Okay.
Okay.
just to be conservative. Yeah.
So if you're watching on YouTube, sometimes we like to model this out in Excel a bit. Um,
Yeah.
so 8 million this year, and then on pace for 16, 3 years out, and then the bottom line holding to 20%.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah. I think that's reasonable.
all right. So
Yeah. So,
that would put you
so
3 years
that
from
would.
now, 16 top line and 3.2 fall into the bottom
Mhm.
line.
Yeah. At that level, Chris, I think you're probably like closer to 20 million valuation.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I don't think you're going to have massive multiple expansion at that size jump, but it might be another turn or so. Uh,
Yeah.
so let's say 3.2 times 5 is 16 million. That's probably your base case, and then I think your uh, bull case here is probably like 20 million. So I think you're probably in the 16 to 20 million range in 2027,
Okay.
if you're able to achieve that type of double up and
Yeah.
maintain a 20% net margin. So that would be
That
pretty
feels
sweet.
right.
Still debt free. Still debt free,
Yeah.
enjoying a seven figure income each of you at that point. You and your partner, and have an asset that you could you could cash out for
Yeah.
8, 9, 10 million each, and pre-tax. And so, I mean, that's a hell of an asset, man.
Yeah.
So how do you think about that? Like, how do you think about, does 10 million today or 16 million in a few years, does that tempt you to sell the supplement business? Or are you thinking I want to keep that forever? And like, how do you think about that one?
Yeah. That's the question. And that's probably the biggest problem that you run into when you're trying to sell these business, because you called it the golden goose, and it's like, why would I sell this?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it requires so little effort, and it's relatively risk free right now. I think the biggest risk to this type of business is that the FTC comes in, or the FDA comes in. They can kind of mess with you on some of your claims and say, "Oh, you said this about your blood sugar thing." It's generally very low risk, and they'll fine you. They won't shut your business down. I do know some people who were making some really outlandish claims who got shut down, but it's relatively low risk. For me, the satisfaction for this business comes from the testimonials we get. I literally get testimonials from people with our joint pain formula who say, "I don't have to use a walker anymore. I'm playing pickleball again," or I can literally walk around the block again. It's incredibly satisfying. And if you want to look at really big picture, like, my identity with business is as a kind of like a healer or an improver, but not like a healer, like I wave a sage handle around you and, like,
Yeah.
vanquish your demons or whatever, or align your chakras, not like that. But I'm like actually helping people be free from pain and suffering, maybe extend their lives. That is incredibly powerful for me. And at this stage of my career, I'm 48 now. I'm going to be 49 in a couple months. That's important to me. Like, to be able to do both, to make money and radically improve people's lives, is
Yeah.
incredibly powerful and incredibly important for me. So I could see myself doing this business 20 years from now. It may look completely different, and I don't know what the top line numbers would be. And frankly, I don't care that much, so long as we can keep this nice income stream flowing. So I don't see myself selling this. If somebody came along with an outlandish offer right now of like 15, that the conversation would definitely change, especially because there would be a hefty non-compete, right? And I'd have to
Mm-hmm.
get out of this business, and that would
Yeah.
be tough. But I can see why it's so hard to find these businesses, because once you build them, you don't want to get rid of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know Chris, um, he's known on Twitter as Car Wash Guy, and we haven't said a word about car washes yet.
It's
Just as
refreshing to be
for
talking
those
about
of you
car
that
wash.
aren't, yeah. So we got to get into car washes, but
Yeah.
if you're not watching on YouTube, he's also super jacked and fit, and just I think of you as just Mister like Colorado clean air living, like ripping it on the snowboard, ripping it on the mountain bike at
Right.
48, about to be 49 years old. And I think you represent a lot of what a lot of us aspire to. You've got these great businesses that
Mhm.
you're stewarding well, but it's also letting you have a great lifestyle, enjoying the great outdoors. And you've got a family, right? You've got kids or a
Yeah.
girl. Like, what's your family situation?
I've got a 10-year-old and an almost 6-year-old that I get to spend a lot of time with. I'm basically going to take next week off, and we're going to go celebrate my little girl's birthday for 3 or 4 days. It's going to be awesome. Right in the middle of
Phenomenal.
the week, so that's great. It's a privilege.
Yeah, so you're living the dream, man. I mean, you really are. I hope
Truly.
you are able to stop and smell the roses. I know most of us entrepreneurs struggle with that, with just living in the moment, and because we're often cursed by our ambition and being goal oriented, and
Yeah.
but man, you are living a lifestyle that a lot of us aspire to in a beautiful natural setting there in Colorado, and just being there for your kids. And so, really proud of you. Really proud of what you built.
Thank
Um,
you.
Before I wax too poetic about this, I do want to talk car washes and say,
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
we got another business to value. We're going to do a two for,
I love it.
and for our listeners, we're not going to charge you any additional dollars for the second valuation, but let's
But wait,
value
there's
some car
more.
washes. Yeah. So you own
Bonus
car washes.
value.
How many car washes do you own? how long have you been doing the car wash thing? And
Yeah.
tell me about their numbers.
Yeah. So we started almost exactly 2 years ago. We closed on the first one in April 22nd of 2022. And it was just going to be this fun little side gig, just kind of an investment, right? Just I'll do this on the side. So we bought two in 2022. We bought one last year in 23, and we're under contract for two more as we speak. This being April of 24. And the ones we have will do. Let's see. Sorry, I should have done this math ahead of time. They'll do about 750 top line, 750,000
Each.
So when you get into real estate stuff, the numbers actually get way smaller.
Yeah.
Like my supplements business will do more in a month than these places will do over. It's very strange, but they
Is
will
that
do about
750 each?
750 altogether. All three of them.
Okay.
The three of them that we have now all together will do 750 top line. And the what we get these to is a 50% EBITDA margin. So that would be a $375,000 EBITDA for those businesses before debt service. And obviously, when there's real estate involved, there's quite a bit of debt. So the cash flow is actually much lower. It's probably closer to 180 or so on that.
Yeah.
So the debt eats up a lot of the cash, but it still provides a nice income.
And just for reference, because you had to teach me about this when we first started talking car washes.
Yeah.
Your numbers were different than I was expecting, but I think I was thinking the super tunnels and stuff. But you are talking like the wash your own car with the quarter car washes, kind of the old school cool car washes, right? Like those are your bread and butter, right?
That's right. Yeah, the tunnels and the express washes, which is the ones you pull into and then a conveyor belt moves you through this big long tunnel, they have really been overbuilt by private equity, and if you're going to play in those waters, you're going to swim with the sharks for sure. For the most part, our washes, which are the self-serves, they're called the self-serve with an IBA, which means an in-bay automatic. So it's one side of the self-serve usually has a place where you pull in, and this wand spins around your car. It's an automatic, but it never touches your car. It's called a touch-free. So we play in those waters because they're still dominated by mom and pops, by baby boomer owners who have, for the most part, neglected their properties. And so we can come in and grow those properties using just sort of basic business blocking and tackling and marketing techniques and grow those businesses.
You don't have the employee headaches of the tunnels either, right? Because it's kind of like just pick up the quarters, check on the machines, drop off stuff, but you don't have people there washing cars, right? The people are washing their own cars.
No, after we integrate these two that we've bought, the total company will have like 5 people, and there's 5 washes. So it's kind of a person per ish. We do like to have somebody on staff during the busy times to help people, but yeah, I love the leverage. As you can tell from the e-commerce business, it was all about the leverage. Car washes are very similar in that low employee headcount. You've got kind of a high burden as far as the equipment and the maintenance stuff, but we deal with that with good employees. And so that's it. That thing right there scares away most real estate investors. Most guys who own a self-storage facility come into a car wash and say, I don't want anything to do with this. There's money all over the place, and there's pumps wailing, and there's water flashing everywhere. And so we kind of carve out a little niche of our own.
Yeah. So your kind of thesis is like, this is a segment of car washes that hasn't been gobbled up by private equity players, dominated by mom and pops, and you see value there to get decent deals that cash flow and service their own debt and pay themselves off, and then can give you kind of evergreen and kind of
some
like
tax benefits.
Big tax benefit. Yeah.
So let's get into all that, but let's first just ballpark the value here. So like, I think on the ones you have, if you're getting like you said 375 EBITDA?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay. I really think you might be in about a 10x EBITDA, but the real estate goes with it, in this situation.
Definitely.
I mean, that sounds like what you're buying at right now, right? When you're buying other ones?
Yes.
is in that range. And then once you
Right in
get,
that range.
yeah, when you get modernized, when you get a little bit of growth and optimize and maybe string some of these together to get you a little more economies of scale, then I
Mhm.
think you could turn a few more turns on those multiples and get like 12, 13, 14. But
Did
it's
he
going to be,
freeze for you, Patrick?
you're still good to me.
Okay.
Start talking
Sorry.
again when you said you could modernize and turn a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think when you string some of these together, where you could sell them as a multi-unit,
Right.
and you've got them kind of optimized with credit card readers instead of all coins, and just different things you can do to make them more up to date, with good equipment and fresh coat of paint wherever needed. Like, I think that's where you could get a little bit higher multiple when you
Yeah.
achieve that. So as you
Right.
keep picking these up and working on them and installing the right team and processes, I think you could maybe get an exit multiple 12, 13, 14, instead of buying at 10. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just view on these, the the real estate is an integral part. You can't really pull that apart, and so you just have to go with a higher EBITDA multiple than some of these other industries, just realizing you're buying dirt and collecting real
Yeah.
estate as you go, with these things.
Totally
So
agree. Yeah.
so yeah, but you're leveraging into these, right? You're getting loans on them.
Yeah. That's the nice thing about it, because I know you can get SBA financing on e-commerce, but I think it's very difficult, at least in my experience, with the real estate slash car wash thing. It's actually been relatively easy. We put 25% down on our first one on a conventional loan, 20% down on the next two, and then these will put down somewhere between 10 and 15% on an SBA through the 504 program. And the
Mm-hmm.
504 program has really, really beneficial rates. They can be in the sixes, whereas, as many of your listeners know, a 7A through the SBA, there's some people paying. I talked to a guy last weekend at this conference we were all at. He was paying 11 and a half.
Yeah,
Um,
11. Yeah, it's common right now.
Yeah, so that's a big nut. So getting half of that for an interest rate is really powerful. So, but it's a $5 million cap as well. So we're gonna
Hmm.
max that out on these ones we're buying right now.
And is your
Gotcha.
amortization longer? It's not a 10-year, it's a 25 or no?
25. Yeah, yeah. So it's and that all just boils down to the risk profile, right? The government and the banks are willing to underwrite it when you have this ground that you can grab. If something goes
Yeah.
haywire, there's nothing to grab with an e-commerce company. But when you've got the
Hmm.
real estate, you have that. So that's asset based.
So so I think you're building a lot of multi-millions of value there with car washes, and I
Cool.
think that's a great compliment to what you're doing. I don't want to steal your thunder here, but I think I've talked to you previously about your flywheel concept. Tell us just how all this works together and how
Yeah.
the tax strategy works. It just, if you could, can you do like a 1 or 2 minute
Yeah.
summary of this?
Yeah. First of all, you guys hearing me okay? I got the little stable internet message there. Good. Okay. Yeah. So the e-commerce business spits off cash and off also a hefty tax liability. And so when I bought the first two car washes, I didn't realize there was a thing called bonus depreciation. So the bonus depreciation, sorry, could you guys hear these dogs?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not too bad.
let me just tell my wife. Get some editing to do on this one, guys. Sorry.
No worries.
Um, so the bonus depreciation, I had no idea about this going into car washes, but the car washes are perfect for bonus depreciation because they everything except for the dirt underneath the car wash is eligible for bonus depreciation. So if you go in and buy an apartment building, well, you got to do this cost segregation study because it's only eligible for this. The HVAC equipment is eligible, but the building is not. And there's this big calculus. With car washes, everything but the actual real estate is eligible. So what happened was that first year in 2022, I got all my tax payments back. If you're a business owner, you're used to doing the quarterly payments, right? You get FICA and everything pulled out if you get in pay stubs. I got 100% of that back. That's the first time that I didn't have a tax liability in my 20 years of being an entrepreneur. And so last year, very similar. I'll owe just a little bit. I think it's just a fraction of what you would think. And so this year, if we get these two locked down for that we're under contract on, I will owe nothing. In fact, I'll have a loss to carry over because this is a $4.4 million deal. We'll have a depreciation expense, which is just paper, of almost 1.6 million. So that will take my overall income to zero and negative. So it's an incredible flywheel because now all of a sudden every entrepreneur's biggest expense is taxes. And it's something that we all just sort of internalize that you just got to pay it. I paid them for decades. And now suddenly I don't have to pay it. And I can turn the money that I would have sent to Uncle Sam into cash flowing assets. And so I actually have a little bit of guilt about this because I feel like a leech on society in some way. So we dropped some big fat checks off to the local homeless shelter, the local dog shelter, schools, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Boys and Girls Club. We're huge fans of, huge supporters of. But it's created this flywheel where the supplement business generates about $150,000, $200,000 of profit a month. And now our goal is just to find car wash deals and funnel that into. And so it's created this incredible, it's boosted my net worth massively. And it's also time efficient because I've got 10 to 20 hours on the supplements. Car washes are about the same. And if we weren't buying them all the time, it'd be a lot less. It'd be like 4 or 5 hours a week. But now that I'm, financing them and doing due diligence and everything, it's another 10 or 20 hours a week. So it's a very fulfilling and lucrative flywheel. And I encourage anybody who's got something similar set up or looking for something similar to kind of try to build something similar.
That's incredible, man. Congrats on getting that flywheel going. And also, it's amazing that you're having that abundance mindset and, donating and giving back as well. So
yeah, we got it.
Now you can't ever sell the car washes because of, depreciation recapture, right? Like your
recapture will be painful. Yeah. I'll be calling Patrick when that time comes. Like, how do we do this? And we think about the exit on that a lot because we do want to build. Clint, you talked about the private equity in the tunnels. Mm-hmm. We're basically trying to build an asset that would attract private equity for this asset class that they have ignored really forever. And so we're building up a huge intellectual property database with how-tos, policies, videos, how to maintain this stuff, how to change out all this stuff, maintenance and all this stuff. And so that we could turn this over to private equity group and say, okay, we've done this in Colorado. Hopefully we will have done it in Utah and maybe Arizona. Now you can go nationwide and you can pay us a 15x because you're going to go out and do this 100x, and then maybe you can sell it for 20x, And so that's kind of the play. We'll see if that works out. It's very, very nascent, but that's the idea anyway.
Kriss, do you have some fancy educational background? I don't know your full backstory, but I know you're like a hustler, right? Like you're just a self-made, like scrappy guy that stumbled into some of this stuff, figured out. Like, how did you get in? Yeah. How did you get from where you were to where you are?
Well, I have a mining engineering degree, so it's funny that you say a fancy background. Like it's literally about dirt, and making holes in the ground. So no, it's not fancy at all. It took time, man. It just took time. I started when I was 27, so it's been 21 years now.
You did construction in a past life, like you've done.
Yeah,
you dug holes, and
I did construction, and we literally dug holes. I blasted holes, and I dug sewer lines, and like I've tried a million different businesses. So it was just time, it's just compounding of knowledge and everything. And there's part of me that thinks I should be way ahead of where I am. I've been doing this for 21 years. I should be worth like $50 million now. But I've had a lot of fun and took a lot of hard knocks, and I just brick by brick built it, man.
Yeah, so I really like Kriss. He's a kind of like a normal dude who's just uh, got a model that's really working for him, and it's not that complicated. And that's what I like about it
Yeah.
is I feel like you're doing two of my favorite strategies at the same time, and I feel like you kind of just stumbled into both of them.
A little bit,
Those
yeah.
two, and you're the first one that's been on our show that's kind of articulated this, and I want
Yeah.
to just restate kind of what you're doing in a way that everyone listening can understand, because there's elements of this two strategies you can do with any business.
Yeah.
One is the use the golden goose business that's spitting off a lot of cash flow to buy real estate that you're then doing cost segregation or bonus depreciation to bring down your tax burden on your active income, to reduce your tax burden to kind of zero. He did that once, almost not realizing what he was getting into, and said, "Holy crap, that was nice. I've never had that experience before where I didn't have to pay this huge tax bill. Why don't we do that every year?" And now he's
Yeah.
kind of built that flywheel of using the active income from the entrepreneurial business to buy, I won't call car washes passive income, but I will call them like semi-passive, because they don't have
That's
a lot of employees. One
Yep.
employee is taking care of each one, and you're just kind of overseeing them
Yep.
with a few hours here or there. And like that is a great strategy. And then you're also doing what I call the level up strategy. I've taught this on Twitter and other places, and that's where you go into a segment of the market that hasn't been totally dominated by private equity yet, and you
Right.
take a bunch of mom and pops, you build good systems and data and processes around them and get some economies of scale, and you try to build an asset combined that could be attractive to a private equity buyer who could potentially pay a higher multiple than what you bought them at. And I love that strategy. I love like buying Main Street and selling middle market with a level
Yeah.
up strategy. And that's just really economies of scale, and then moving up the sophistication ladder on ops and accounting and things like that. So you're
Totally.
doing both, man. Like you're doing both strategies. You probably didn't even know you were when you started, but you're doing two of my the smartest people in this space are doing one or both of those, and
Right.
you're doing them both,
Right.
and you just kind of like Mr. Magoo almost stumbled into it through this really non-traditional background. And so I just
Right.
think you're an all-American cool success story. I love hearing your
Thanks.
story.
Thanks, man.
I would love to so it sounds like you're in the long haul. You're 48, 49.
Yep.
You got this flywheel going.
Yep.
No intentions on selling, because you're still kind of growing the car wash empire, wanting to turn that into a private equity target eventually. And then you
Yeah.
need to keep the supplement company because that's giving you your down payments on your car washes, right? Like, and so
Exactly.
it, you'd have to get like a ridiculous offer to sell that, because that's
Yeah.
your golden goose. It's letting you build your empire.
Yep.
So like, I think that's a great long-term vision. Patrick and I have this, we kind of render a verdict. Like if we feel like you're on the path to be acquired in the next 3 to 5 years, then we're going to say you're falling on the question we're asking here is, are you inspired or are you ready to be acquired?
Yeah.
I think Patrick, probably unanimous inspired here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspired. A lot of runway left.
Yeah. So it looks like you're in it for, at least another probably 10 years or so to build this out. And then, and I think your sell decision, may come down to just when you feel like that 10, 20 hours is starting to get annoying, like where you'd have more fun if you weren't doing that, and you've built something you're really proud of and you can get a big multiple for it. And that may
Right.
come down to just that personal decision for you, right? Is that how you're thinking about this? Is like when you're not having fun anymore, or when that time
Yeah.
starts being,
I think about it actually more that one of the two businesses will require a full-time gung-ho CEO. And I think it'll probably be the car washes. at some point it'll reach an inflection point where we're kind of transitioning, like we're sort of dabbling right now, and we could explode this with somebody who's going to be there 50 hours a week and just thinking about it nonstop. So that there will come a point. Luckily, I have a partner on both that we can decide who's going to do what. Like, okay, you take the supplement thing, I'll take the car wash thing, whatever that is. But I think that'll come in the next 3 or 4 years. We'll see a path for that.
Yeah. Love it. Very good, man. Well, I mean, I don't have a lot else to say, Patrick. What do you got? What else do you want to hit Kriss with while I got him?
This was beautiful. It was just awesome to, see what you've built, and, I'm inspired as well. So congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I wanted to say one thing before we go, that last week we were all in the same room, and it was with a ton of holdco people that have 6, 7, sometimes 20 businesses, and they're spread all over the country, spread all over the industries. And I knew a lot of people who were sort of younger in that crowd who thought like that's the path, that you want to build this sort of spider organization that's diversified across industries. And I just want to give you an example that there's a different way, that you could focus on one thing for a while and get it spun up and kicking off tremendous cash flow, then sort of turn it into like this, have people run it for you, quote unquote, hire the manager. And then you can move on to the next thing. You don't have to spin up this 4 or 5 company holdco in a short period of time. I think that's a recipe for disaster for a lot of people, because I don't know that everybody has the chops to run that kind of organization. No. It's much harder than those guys make it sound. And the people who are doing it are highly, highly skilled at both hiring CEOs and finding the right companies to buy. And they also have a ton of pressure on them because they've raised a bunch of money. So I just want to show people out there, I've never borrowed a dime from anybody, from an investor, only from banks, because investor money is the most expensive money you'll ever borrow or get. And so I just want to show people there's a different way. And this is one.
Yeah, I think your playbook is easy to understand, way more accessible to a lot of people to wrap their minds around, and it's not any less powerful than any others. So there's not any right or wrong ways, but I think Kriss has a great alternative way to go.
Just wait. In 10 years, I'll probably have one of those holdcos, and I'll be telling everybody to do it that way.
Yeah.
So,
well, Kriss, I want to give you a chance to plug your supplement company. Like,
thanks.
Can you tell us the name of it if we want to go get supplements or
So the primary one, we have several different brands, but prospercbd.com is the one I'm most proud of. You'll see my mug on the About Us page. You could go in there, and what I can actually do is give you guys a coupon code. I can't think of it offhand, but you can throw that on the YouTube video. People could use that if they want to try some stuff. The product I'm most proud of is called Joint Restore. It's one that's literally helping people walk again. It's a Boswellian CBD gummy. It's actually delicious enough. You can just eat it whether or not you have joint pain. And I'm very, very proud of that company. We're doing a lot of good with them.
Okay, so Prosper CBD.
Yep.
And then how do we follow you on Twitter or any other social platforms? Like, what's your handle?
My handle is at Kriss Berg Tweets. I have a K and 2 S's in my first name. But I think if you plug into the search engine on Twitter, Car Wash Guy, I should come up. I got a big yellow bubble behind my head, and I share a lot of stuff. I actually don't talk about car washes that much anymore. I'm thinking about changing that branding, but so many people know it that I'll probably leave it. But I talk about everything, about 21 years of entrepreneurship, about fitness, nutrition. Yeah. I talk about everything. So I hope to just be interesting and inspire people like you guys.
And if anybody has a car wash they want to sell, hit you up, right? Are you always looking for deals on car washes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I built a network of car wash buyers now. And if I can't buy it, I probably could find somebody who will.
Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you being brave, sharing your real numbers, your real story. I think this has been one of our best shows in terms of just priceless, actionable, strategic, direction you can go with your life. But thanks for being a great example. Thanks for coming on, and really appreciate you, man.
I just want to say I love this show and I love the format. There's so many. I've been on like 30 podcasts in the last year. This is one of the most unique and one of the most fun formats that you have, and I really hope you guys crush it. I think you will. And I love both of you guys because I think you're ballers and I think you're doing really cool things. So it's just really cool to connect again here.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate the feedback and thanks for coming on. We'll hope to see you soon.
Okay. Thanks,
Bye.
guys.